Hey everyone, it's Justin here. Voices for Voices. Just another episode bringing you some real content, real world information, public safety concerns. Just trying to do the best we can, and that's what we want to do and share with you. I guess first and foremost, I just had one of these ices these red ices, cherry. And so yeah, I guess my I just realized my tongue's super red. But so you see that on my lips, and that's uh didn't realize that it did a number like that, but it's all good. Uh yeah, so thank you for joining us on this episode. As always, we're just I say it a lot, but I mean it, that we're just so grateful to have this platform, this opportunity to talk, to share, to provide information, share experiences, and it's just incredible to uh, have you with us. Over 300 episodes. I mean, it's just it's just incredible. And we're 5 months early. And that just blows my mind. It's one of those things where uh, we think about it in our heads and in our mind. We have our goals, and so we start working towards them. And by the grace of God, uh, we we made it. We made it to 300 before the end of 2025 calendar year. It's just it's just an incredible feeling, and hopefully it's an inspiration in whatever you do and whatever you want to do, whatever you are dreaming about, that you can do it. And it's all about uh, perseverance. It's all about passion. And we hear these terms all the time, and the one term that I think it's overused the most is epic. We tend to throw around, the word epic, like, oh, this is epic or that was epic. And there may be some special elements, but it doesn't seem like everything that the individuals say is epic is actually epic. Uh, so I digress. So back to, passion, perseverance, dreaming. We wouldn't be here if, I wasn't given the opportunity by my mom and dad to dream, to really go after my dream. And what my dreams were as I was growing up are much different than they are now as I'm in my 40s. Uh, and so my dream has been to help in one way or another, maybe in a small way, maybe in a big way, maybe through other individuals, other organizations. Uh, the big dream is to help 3 billion people. And uh, there's a 3 in 300 for 300 episodes. So uh, I don't know if that's any correlation, but that's just a fact. We're in the 300 episode plus, and it's just really a great thing. And I know I spend 5 6 minutes here at the outset, and you may think, just get into it. Come on. Uh, but I'd be remiss if I didn't mention this because it is it's really important because I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for God kind of coming and stepping in and interjecting, intervening in November of 2017. Uh, if not, I may not be here. And that's scary to think about, but it's a fact that I was on such rocky and shaky ground, and it some of the scariest and fearful times of my life. And uh, so really to make it to where we're at, it's only because of you. It's only because you're tuning in episode after episode here in the United States, here in the state of Ohio, or across the world. I mean, it's incredible. We're just about at 80 countries distribution wise. That by itself is incredible. And the hundreds of cities, 600 plus, I believe we're at cities across the world. It's just mind blowing. And so we wanted to just again just thank you. Uh, we spend so much of our time on the negatives of what's happening or what's happened. And so to be grateful and thankful and to just share that appreciation that we have, it's authentic, it's real, it's the real deal. And um, we definitely couldn't have done this, couldn't have gotten to this point without you. Because if nobody's listening, nobody's watching, then we'd have no reason to have a show. Here we go. So let's jump in. This episode is again one of these raw life story event uh, episodes, like all of them are. Okay. So these are hard topics to talk about, and I get it. It's hard to probably listen and to watch at times. But trust me, I would much rather not have to talk about these topics, but they come up, and so we're gonna again preface this as we uh, do with all of our shows, and if it's not said, it's implied. You know, the information that we share, we share it in good faith and good faith understanding that we believe the information that we're sharing is truthful to the best of our ability, best of our knowledge, in good faith. Uh, and so we got to say that, especially for this particular episode, because it's gonna hit at a deeper level than what we've discussed before. And we've discussed part of this before, but it's been a smaller part of that uh, when we've discussed this. So anybody out there have a bank account? Anybody know what a bank account is? This isn't like to, to be to downplay anything. It's just we got to start from the beginning. So we have to know what a bank account is. And so I don't have the Wikipedia definition, so I'm gonna instead give what I believe is the definition. Uh, okay, so there's banks. So self-explanatory. Uh, and so some of the names, uh, Capital One, PNC, Huntington, and then credit unions, just to name a few. And so these banks, they transact with money. So whether that is, having a savings account. So maybe if I remember from my first job, I was working at Burger King, and so I needed to open a bank account so I could put the money I made, so I could save money, and then I could pay my bills uh, with that money. And so the banks have different accounts. So there's savings where the main idea is, okay, we're planning on holding on to this money. We don't need it right away. And so we're going to put it in, we're going to put it in a savings account. And there's a checking account where we still could be saving, but it's meant to write checks or, electronically transfer, the ACH transactions, uh, to pay bills, uh, to receive, uh, money. If you've heard of direct deposit, that usually comes through ACH, uh, which basically uh, helps, let's say, an organization pay their employees in an electronic manner versus having to hand out, actual physical paper check. Because we're in the year 2025, and those paper checks still happen, but electronic transactions are, uh, I think I think the electronic transactions, there's more electronic transactions than kind of like those paper, coming in with a check and wanting to deposit it and keep some or what have you. So we have savings accounts, we have checking accounts, we have, let's say we have a mortgage. So let's say the house or whatever we're buying real estate wise, let's say, and I'm just throwing numbers out, so this isn't a specific piece of property, but let's just say that uh, $100,000 home, and let's say we have $10,000 to put down. So then that would mean we would owe 90,000. And then the way banks make money is by charging interest. So you may be familiar with interest rate. Uh, the higher the interest rate from a savings account standpoint is good because, right, you want to have an interest rate that's higher so you can make more money in that. Uh, Now on the other side, an interest rate for purchasing a house or any type of loan, when that goes up, that's not good because that means, okay, in this example of we have this $100,000 property, we got 10,000, we owe 90,000 plus interest. And so if the interest was 4% and now it's 7%, then that means the amount of money owed that we would owe on that particular property would be 90,000 plus 7%. And so we want to from a payment standpoint, we want to pay less. So the lower the interest rate, the less money, because most banks don't lend out money at 0% interest uh, when they're talking about, buying a home, uh, because these big buildings, they're not built by themselves. They're built with money, and it comes from customers like you and me. And so I'm going into, like, some of this detail for a good reason. So I want to establish this foundation so we all can understand what a bank is, and so uh, let's say mm, let's say you have a job, a vocation, a career, and you're paid $2,000 every 2 weeks. Well, you have $2,000 and you'd have all those taxes and deductions, and then what's left is called the net income. So let's say you get paid $2,000, but with all the deductions and taxes, the net income after all that is $1,600. So then every 2 weeks, you would get either a paper check with the $1,600 made out to you, or you would get the electronic transaction of $1,600 direct deposit into either a savings account or a checking account. Um, and so that's kind of that process. What's this have to do with anything with voices for voices and public safety concerns? Well, here's how it has something to do with voices for voices. Let us go back to that example. We have a we have employment. We earn $2,000 each week, or not each week, every 2 weeks. So let's say every other Friday is when we either get that paper check or whether we get that electronic direct deposit. Uh, and so after all the deductions, taxes, if we have money put away for investments or what have, let's say that again, that $1,600. So let's say we're working at that job for a year. And so every 2 weeks for a year, we earn that income of $1,600. Let's say at the beginning of year two, the first, let's say January, February, and March, everything's going the same way. But come April, you're 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 on a Friday on that every other, so you're on a payday, and you realize that you don't you didn't get that paper check, and you didn't get that electronic transaction into your bank account. And then let's say, oh, maybe, right, everybody makes mistakes. We know that, right? We know we all sin. None of us are sinless. Jesus was sinless, and we're not Jesus, so we can make mistakes. So in good faith, right, we would think, okay, maybe there's a mistake. So we would reach out maybe to human resources, and we would say, hey, maybe we wait till Monday, because we might say, oh, maybe if it's electronically transacted, maybe something got held up, and maybe it'll come tonight, Friday night, or maybe it'll come tomorrow, Saturday or Sunday. So you wait till Monday, because again, this is the first time this has happened. Wait till Monday. coming to work and still haven't, you're still employed, same place, nothing's changed except for the money for the paycheck hasn't shown up in whatever form, hasn't shown up in check, paper check, it hasn't shown up electronically. So you reach out to human resources, they reach out to accounting and finance, and all the responses are, well, we put the money through, we nothing changed on our end. Uh, did you change a bank? And you just didn't give us the new account number, and the information, which that happened, right? Maybe we move, and so maybe one bank is closer than another. And they say, no, I didn't change banks. And, same bank as, last pay, 2 weeks ago. And, so some of questions are answered. And so HR is like, well, we, nothing changed. It shows that, we put the 1600, after all those deductions off of 2000, you put that 1600 in our direct deposit process or our paper check process, and you say, well, that I didn't get it. Like something's going on here. And so you're upset. I'd be upset. And HR, they're probably getting upset too. They're probably like, what's going on? Like they're just making this up to try to get like an extra paycheck or, and because, right, that's out of the norm. It's out of the norm that this would happen because in a majority of the cases, everything's working as well as can be. And if it's not working, it's usually not working for everybody, not just a specific person. Okay. So now there's this whole idea of I didn't get paid, I didn't change banks, I'm still employed, human resources, accounting, finance, their process didn't change. They show that the transaction went through just like all the other ones, and yet you're here without a paycheck. So how does this have to do voices for voices? Well, and public safety. Well, somebody who's employed gets payment, whether it's one of an every 2 week payment, or maybe it's a project payment. So maybe you work on a project, and then at the end of the project you get paid. And so it might be a lump sum, meaning instead of that 2000, all the deductions, 1600 every 2 weeks, it could be 20,000 or 30,000 after a project of six months. And maybe they do break it up and you get paychecks along the way, or maybe you have to wait until the project's completed before you get paid. Uh, in any event, same thing. You either get the money, you get that net income either comes on a paper check, or it comes, electronically, direct deposit into your account. And those are all things, that you do the first week or so. If you're at an organization, at a company, at a firm, if you're working on your own, like you're consulting, doing projects, entertainment, uh, you know, you would, potentially be on kind of that project scale of like, well, when this project completed, we would get paid, or again, maybe some form of that money that's been negotiated, you receive up front, and then the rest you receive when the project's done. So, anyways, there's all kind of terms, all kind of jobs, all kind of professions, um, and so it comes with a public safety concern when the money that you should be getting doesn't come through. and everything's set up the way it's supposed to be. Nothing's changed. And so what's the public safety concern is who got the money? I didn't get the money. You didn't get the money. Everything, everybody's showing us that we were paid the same exact way as we were before. So somebody is intercepting the money. Somebody's intercepting the money. And so that's where the public safety concern, because somebody or somebodies who are unauthorized, meaning I'm in this instance, I'm the only one on the account, my name, my family, as a beneficiary in that. And it's like, okay, well, they don't have the money either. So somebody must have intercepted it. And so that's where the public safety concern, because if somebody is intercepting my paycheck or your paycheck at some level, or what's even more of a safety concern, public safety concern. So that's kind of like that intercepting where to go, where the money go. That's one thing to think about. The second thing to think about is, and this is happening, and that's why we're talking about it. So in good faith and my understanding, this is happening to at least one person as we cut this episode or film this episode, or whatever you want to, however you want to use the terms. It's happening, and somebody or somebody's is in the middle intercepting money that's not theirs, as well as, again, I guess this is in good faith, this is from our understanding, is also calling around a different bank and impersonating the person who has that account, and either saying, oh, we want to close this account. We got a new account, send the money here. Or I don't even know how to like say this, but basically like we're not working at this business anymore, this company or this organization. So, you need to decline the transactions. So let's put this into practice. If somebody comes in, impersonates you or me to the bank, or calls in, impersonates us, and I say, oh, well, we have another bank account. We don't need we're not going to be paid through this account here. So if for some reason a transaction comes through, a deposit comes through, you just decline it, because we let our organization know that they should actually be paying us through this other bank account. And so all this, right? Me saying it, it's hard to say, but basically it's somebody that's interfering with a person's ability to earn an income. Um, it's somebody who's interfering. They're taking money that's not theirs. Again, in good faith and from what we understand. Uh, Reasoning why we're doing this particular episode. And so that's why it's a public safety concern, because if this is happening to one person, it's probably happening to more than one person. So this is a public service announcement, public safety announcement for the general public as much as it is for banks and institutions that deal with money lending and having savings accounts and checking accounts and direct deposits and mortgages. And there's people impersonating people out there. It's going on. So we need to be alert. People, we need to be alert about this. Banks, we need to, and I don't even know how to answer this. All I know is there's there's banks that are, and I'm not trying to say any one particular one is complicit or not. I'm just saying it's happening. So whatever verification is being done or not being done by a bank, that needs to be looked at from like a high level because there's customers of yours, customers of the banks and credit unions that this is happening to where they're not getting the individuals aren't getting their paycheck. Um, this even goes for mail, snail mail, the delivery of, the gas bill, the electric bill, junk mail, whatever. Uh, it's happening the same thing of, well, I went to check my mailbox and I haven't got mail for 3 weeks. Well, that's interesting because nothing changed. I live in the same place, same address, and yet I'm getting calls about certain things that were contained in the mail, but I didn't get the mail. So somebody's either coming to my mailbox, going to the mail carrier, and saying we're picking up the mail for this address, or they're getting that mail forwarded or moved or a PO box set up, and the mail goes there, and then an individual goes and gets that mail. Uh, that's the only way to really explain that. And it's so crazy that we're even having to talk about this, but this is happening. And, we hear the words be vigilant, and if you see something, say something. These things are happening, folks. These are happening to people. This is affecting people's livelihood, where they're not able to, where they may have been banking at one bank for a long period of time, and then again, somebody that doesn't have access and authorization from that person is going in and doing some things that aren't morally, ethically correct for whatever reason. I don't know what the reason is, and the reason doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is the people's livelihood, their payments, their paychecks, if they have a project that's coming out and money tied to that, and earnings and royalties or whatever the name of it is, but it's a paycheck and it's not coming to you or me, something's going on. If we're being told we're still employed, we're still the way the organization or a person, whether they're being paid, uh, hasn't changed. And yet, when I go to the bank account, like it doesn't show up, the money doesn't show up there. It should be there. And I talked to organization and they said, well, nothing's changed. We're using the same bank account. Here's your routing number, here's your checking account number. You should have gotten it. It shows we sent it. So, folks, we got to wake up. This is not right. This is not right. This is not right. We should not be allowing, and the reason I'm bringing this up is because it's happening. It's at least happening to one person I know, and it's having a big effect, and it is not okay. And this isn't one of these, childish type of things. This is a real deal, real life. It's happening. There's banks involved. There's other people involved. There's stuff going on that this individual who has an expectation to make a paycheck and have money come into a bank account where they have this individual as an authorization and hasn't given anybody else, and yet the money is disappearing, or they're getting a call from maybe the fraud department saying, "Hey, we got a call from you earlier today saying that you no longer are banking with us. Is that right?" And then the bank starts questioning the person, like, "No, I didn't call." Well, it sounded like, it said, they gave, whatever the, security question answers or whatever. And that's how we know, unfortunately, that there's people that, uh, there's people that follow the law and laws and the people that don't. And that's just the truth. Go into any given courthouse that's not on a holiday or a weekend, and you'll see things that are going on. You'll see cases, you'll see judges, you'll see attorneys, you'll see clients, you'll see all that. So that's a fact that there's some people that aren't following the law. And so this is a wake-up call for banks, so you know that this is going on, and it needs to stop. This type of activity needs to stop. People should not be afraid to open up a bank account and be afraid that the money from a project or a job or a career or vocation is going to end up in somebody else's hands. This is not okay, banks. This is not okay, regulators, whoever's out there that is this is not right security wise. Uh, and this impacts projects. Maybe a project can't be completed on time, or a project is expected to be done at a certain date, and it can't be done because and completed because of these reasons where somebody somewhere along the way is intercepting, is calling around a different bank to find out. Like, I don't know about you, but there's a lot of things that aren't bank related, that aren't money related, where we have to like verify. Like, let's just say to go into a club or a bar after a certain amount of certain hours, you have to show an ID. If you have to be 21 or older to get in at a certain time, you show an ID, and that's part of the process. And then we have fake IDs and all that to work through. But there's a process to get into a particular establishment at a particular time of night. And trust me, I frequented plenty of bars and clubs in my days, so I know. What do you need? You need your ID, and you need either cash, your currency, or credit card if you're going to be buying anything or paying for anything. So how are banks and banking establishments, how are they cutting off banking relationships and intercepting money and it, and even the mail thing. How are people intercepting the mail that's supposed to be delivered to one place? Like, how's that possible? Isn't there type of some type of an enforcement out there? I don't know. I think there should be. I I would think that's part of what taxes and all that goes to is some type of enforcement. So I bring this up because it's relevant to voices for voices because there's people, and like I said, there's at least one individual that as we're speaking, as I'm speaking, as you're watching me, as you're listening to me, at least one that is having these things happen to them right now, not 10 years ago, not 20 years ago. I mean, maybe it was, but we're aware of in good faith and fact that we know there's at least one person that this is happening to. And so banks, we need to wake up. Security, we need to wake up. We need to we need to make people feel at ease doing banking, to not worry that somebody's going to come in and intercept the money. They're going to close my account. They're going to take the money and then they're going to find out where I'm banking next and then do the same thing. This stuff is happening and it's impacting projects. Projects can't get released when dollars and that are lined up to go into a certain account. And other people are coming in and uh, because if it's not the company that's paying you or me, if they're saying, hey, we paid you and it's no different than the last time, then something's going on. I mean, it's just straight up, right? It goes from okay, every 2 weeks I'm getting $1,600 to all of a sudden I'm getting zero and I'm still employed and nothing's changed. My bank account and all that has not changed. Something is going on. And that something is something that is a public safety concern. And we need, as a society, as government, uh, as regulators, we need to be getting to the bottom of this because this is not okay. This is not okay. This strikes fear in in the people who are working through this because it's like, oh crap, like how am I going to get paid for my project and my work? And we shouldn't be having that. And so this is an episode for public safety, as many of our episodes are. It's not okay. People are intercepting money from banks that are supposed to go to individuals. People are calling banks and getting information that they shouldn't be getting about individuals in their bank accounts uh, and it's also going on from the mail. People are getting their mail intercepted and they don't know they're got a letter from I don't even know or a bill from I don't even know. And they're like, well, why are you late on paying? You know, we're going to cut your electricity off. Well, why? Well, we've been sending the bill paper through the mail and you haven't paid it for the last 3 months. Like, well, I live in the same place I lived 3 months ago. And so those types of things are real life. When your electricity goes out, the lights go out, when the phone can't be charged, um, that's real life, people. This isn't some fantasy world here we're talking about. You know, it's just not. Uh, so let's help each other out. Let's truly stop this activity where people are able to do this and people are being empowered to do it. Why? Because they're not being caught. They continue to do it. The people sometimes that it's being done to, report it, and nothing's done. And so that displays and leads to a lack of trust from the general public about certain things. Like, well, nothing's being done, so I I don't know what I'm gonna do. So whether you're in the United States of America or another country, there's things that need to be done. I don't know how to do them. That's not my specialty. My specialty is bringing this to the attention of the general public, uh, and it's a public safety concern. People aren't getting paid, or getting their mail intercepted, getting their bank payment, their paychecks intercepted. Uh, Information about their accounts is being given to people that shouldn't be having access. Uh, People are impersonating other people, uh, right? I mean, we should have, this biometric scanning. We should have like these things should, I guess I was under the impression, and I could be wrong, that these things are in place, because that would stop that right away. Yeah. So that's our episode. Fun, 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 right? No, it's not fun. We need to stop making people fearful that they can't do something because people are stepping in, and we don't know where along the way this has happened, but it's happening. It's happening. So let's instill the trust of the public in our banking system and everything we do, and let's prosecute the people that are stepping in and feeling empowered to do what they're doing, because it's illegal. They're not on, and what I'm talking about, this one individual in particular, they have not authorized the they have not authorized other people to be able to do what they're doing. So they have for sure not allowed an individual or multiple individuals or anybody else for that matter to be on this to be on an account. And they're finding out that there's calls being made on their behalf, and it's it's not right, people. We need to fix that. So if you're in a place of power, or and you're able to do something, please double, triple, quadruple check. This stuff needs to stop, and we need to start believing some of these survivors. Not some of these. We need to believe all these survivors of any type of abuse, any type of activity, and stop with the name calling and putting people down, if they're a victim of some sort. It's not their fault. God did not say it's your fault that, and, you deserve this and you got this because of this. No. Let's do something. Let's come together. So God bless you. God bless everybody in the entire world, past, present, future, in heaven. And God bless the United States of America. We'll see you next time. Take care.